Boy, ite nyimina jande basail. Basail ite nyimina. Ngala ni ida fela ka jefan di tabba ite nyimina jannak. If you are below 25 years, anal man na jannan tamin no la humoristic quality, you know. Realistic quality. If you are below 25 years, you're getting your time, you know. Enkoloma, Nabrora, Idrisa. Enembara Nabrora, you know. Anyimban, Atava. Boy, Eman.
We can see it in the budget. The projected fiscal deficit for 2024 is 4.45 billion or 2.
Sohna kayong over minute nun naki, no? Omar Bon ni nati visit mba fulanya na kote ke, no? No, ata na diata tenga. Ni ristiko tabete ni ba ni ale kakanyari. Kagajan. Real ristiko di kadunne, you know. Ko feeling is very extreme, you know. By the way, I have a very short video being sankara morning shift so left ning Gambia dingole 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏 kilindona
2.55 of GDP. The debt to GDP ratio is about 85% of GDP. Our national budget as at 2023 is $110 billion. The interest payments on our national debt increased from 3.5 billion to 7.5 billion, which is more than the combined allocation for health, education and agriculture. Yahya Jammeh, in all his madness, in 22 years, left us with a national debt of 48 billion. While President Barrow, who claimed to be a man of austerity, who claims to be a man came to calm down on excess on wastages, has increased our debt to 62 billion by 62 billion in 7 years. And this, of course, has brought up our national debt to the global figure of $110 billion. Our balance of payments and terms of trade are all negative. The official rate of inflation.
Akoristical, can never below 25 is a man you name, but thank God.
Is said to be 18%, but the market tells us that the rate of inflation is much higher than 18%. Ordinary Gambians are struggling to make ends meet. Those of you who went to Serakunda market and face the butcher or the fishmonger or the vegetable vendor would know that really the rate of inflation is far above 18%. Those of us whose pockets are affected know that. But government, in its desire to mislead the Gambian people, pegs the inflation rate at 18%, which is really a misleading statistics for the Gambian people. The international travel for 2024 is increased from $40 million to $60 million. The cost of our ministers, our directors, our president, the cost of their travels abroad is increased from 40 million to 60 million. And indeed, the cost of the medical treatment for the few privileged people has also been increased from 40 million to 60 million. You and I, the rest of us, are not catered for in this amount, in this allocation. This is for the ministers, the spouses, and indeed those who are well connected to them to foot their medical bills abroad. Now, the specific allocations to the offices of the president is 872.6 million. Foreign affairs is 1.7 billion. Finance and economic affairs 2.05 billion. Infrastructure 2.6 billion. Youth and sports 122 million, 0.3. Basic education 2 billion. Secondary education 2 billion. Minister of Health 2.3 billion. Interior 1.58 billion. Tourism 45.1 million. It's obvious from these allocations that government is placing priorities on areas that do not deserve that sort of attention. $872.6 million is allocated to the President's office. For what purpose? We all know that the President's office is probably the least productive sector of the economy of this country. The least productive sector of this country. In fact, it is the sector where gossips is the center of gossips. And how can anybody in his right mind put $872.6 million to such a sector? As compared to youth and sports, which is only 122.3 million. No wonder the GFF is having hand in hand going around seeking donations to finance the AFCON the AFCON campaign. The resources that are allocated to office like Office of the President, better part of that should have been given to the Ministry of Youth and Sport, particularly when we already know that this year Gambia Football Federation or the Scorpions.
Greetings, Gambians. Welcome back to the Midnight Show. This is the part that I want to discuss a little bit about the Adama Barrow a speech IMND about funding Keola. Adama Barrow funding Keola I revealed lesson just recently ko Gambia funding kewlu ako also made no Gambia Adama Barrow e Gambia funding kel nenko for Gambia la funding kel mo hamen tangol lelti ako Gambia la funding kel mo katabalo lelti ako Gambia la funding kel they are very lazy ako bar Gambia la funding kel will se baluno Gambia now Ngoroma nende kira Minister of Sport and then Gambia no be that. So, alanga ajibe ba Adama Barrow la national budget men prepare anala Minister of Finance. Gambia no la bina kuma moila. That is disastrous. Me alango hapunta Adama Barrow la masakunda koto. Alialango Mamurenjai, the former Minister of Finance, a secret bank account in Senegal, where you have over 2.5 million pounds le bank taji without trace. So we will reveal in coming months. Aketa nyadi, ayasunya nyadi, the bank account ni opunta nyadi, opunta jumala to yara. We will hear about that. Gambia be fakane. Albina mono koreke Adama Barrow la Secret International Bank. Ay kodomenda mama bod la ta men sunya mamure njañol la banjun mafia le men plan ya account me yel Adama Barrow ya mabo dulato. Slanin ko ñaro be fana investigate la bina baf la Gambia dingale. Gambia la economy ñina na fata. Albina mo la fana in coming days, the central bank, Adama Barrow la masakunda ka kodo withdraw on Gambia la reserve ni ika talantala nyo tema nyadi de. In coming days, sulanding kunyaro bala investigation o kinambila mbe ofana jaba kisa wot la Gambia dingole jang. Gambia la economy benung wala nyama. Criminal enterprise le lote ka Gambia la nafulota ka batra den talantala nyol tema. The Banyan Mafia and the Cruise will international bank account like a Gambia la kodo bond in a central bank, a Gambia la kodo manipulate a bank Senegal. Mamrenja saved that 2.3 or 5 million pounds sterling in the name of a consultancy company in Senegal. I'll go down for now. Not today, but in coming days. So, Adama Barrow la diamo ñu ko am tan Gambia dingol la Gambia dingol be nen dama wala ñenti ko. King is ko yala analyse ol kelen dina tan tebole breakdown a little bit. Adama Barrow budget men prepare for Gambia la youth manole. Toure mandi mori. Bakaliva en mbara seko, you know. Have a Dr. Bakalifa sang, you know. Momo ke alalake, you know. To the Monday morning. So, Adama Barrow budget men prepare Gambia la youth manual. The entire Gambia la funding kelmenianko is almost 1 million Gambia la population. The youth consists youth manual la population in the Gambia and in Musolu. Near combined to moment is more than 80%. Gambia la funding kelo. And in Gambia la Musolu neology being the entire population is more than 40%, because Niajibe Gambia Musola population is twice more than the Kaula population. So Nina Gambia the entire population in Jibe is almost 2 million Gambian. Gambia population of 2 million. But nearly combined Yajibe Gambia is almost 2 million. But Nina the Musol Nimfoninke la population of Jibe is almost 80%. It's nearly 1.5 million work consist of Jumalela Musul new funding will be dominate. Alta Gambela Bureau of Statistics aliaji for la lege. So I don't know another budget where this incoming budget, another budget will money. Pro funding nyante fanna fala men kono bari jani ana baro be budget ida ay budget ida fa paret. Beri ngalon ka man felani funding la ko funding Gambela funding hametol. Gambia la funding kill, they are very useless. Ako Gambia la funding kill will man kata. Ibuka kata, ibuka baraka, will more barakan town, more hajin town le world. Anana jelle prepare for ninke le pro will be the sama de dala menna. I'm Minister of Sport in entire tombo make the bakar budget. Ale bakar budget sungolo, ne bakar budget be mo sungolati. Ale olon me ala nka musola ay mus ala muso ay wole use ka Gambia la funding ke la kodo sunya. Ay o sunya pareta mole ona kana fo ko kodo nyeta ka senda mante la presino kon. Ale ala le Gambia betene. Gambia sometimes ke Gambia dingol Gambia no la miro ku akante jakali bakele. So, Adama Barrow anyway, 122 million Gambian dollars. 122 million Gambian dollars. Adama Barrow will landi. Pro Gambia entire funding kill. Minister of Sport nyanta menkela funding kill. Nyanta silome yalla funding kill. Funding kill na balu nyanta Sonia la wale kono. Adama Barrow masakunda kanyina plan wale. 121 million. When the Gambia population is Gambia youthful population is 1.5 million Gambians. Hanatra mo yenyu 122 million omen nati. Hanatra Gambia diwo Gambia funding ka dalasi killing drone dealer, dalasi killing amazing. This is 1.22 million dollars. Adama Barrow will prepare Gambia la funding kile. Gambia di wole yala kanyem fond na nyol nte kanyem fatam fansale na ka breakdown na mandika kan la pralia understand no mandika kan moyla meni yala ko. Ni meno mandika kan fana mo isa transine ala mero la broda sol ifa manual alsi isa fondi isa fatam fansano ale nyaadi. Gambia la funding kile la population on in the mushol na nakudo kula na samado lal. Iko Adama Barrow e kodo men budget ale this 2024 ni sankuto men dunta kon. Alla balu menyanta topatola. Wala dalasi million kilindi. Dalasi million keme. Ani 122 million. 102 dalasi million keme. Dalasi million dalasi really keme fula ani I don't know. 122 million anyway. I will let that. Malamba for no money on the ikalto la balu bebe wala kala. But Adama Barrow na diamala moli many mata Gambia la na fulo bunda la kweko. Ate Adama Barrow da mana la dimba State House. Ate sulata jellela. 870 million Gambian dollars. Gambia dingo mala fo Gambia dingo nanyol men be marché kono atol men ka Adama Barrow support atol men be wulo kosila at nga funding kel men jeni Adama Barrow di amati ka bulo kosale Adama Barrow la man sakunda e kodo men prepare atol pro atol funding kel bal na fala men nyanta la sama do kula men akaya kodo men prepare ka landale wala nyendiko 122 million Gambian dollars dalasi million keme akaya wala landal tole. Bari Adama Barrow na diamu Gambia la mansakunda Gambia la finance department many yalo ko marading Gambia la kodo bundala akoyeko ntela fita prunte ni na family ni na dimbal albe dalasi million keme say willy tawarula willy keme warula albe ole prepare ande damay ni na dimbayal Adama Barrow kilon na findi ako Gambia la funding ke nyanta wol se baluno Gambia wol sa made no Gambia le ndama Gambia this is the biggest insult ndama this is the biggest insult I made a mistakes, you know. Schoolboy malon ko UDP be conference la den ntinano. But anyway, take a morning shift level, so I have to break this one down here. Wala aliye boda leta would lato jibe follow aleta UDP jibe becausentem individual the UDP is a political party alite la mo la conference la ndebe breakdown and interpret sin aliya jibe Adama Barrow di am da Gambia la mansa kunna la mola kweko ndeni na family da malbe 870 million dollars nte sulata wala nina office of the president ndeni na dimbayal nyanta wala domala nyina ntul nyanta patila wala ntul nyanta ko dole ba tara din domala kabona la national budget on kono awodi Gambia minister la awodi Gambia mo la men yalan ko mata Gambia korola and wole chiki adi Adama Barrow na la family damala Adama Barrow na la family damala nyindi ne ko president office of the president is belong to Adama Barrow and la entire family mola haji to lad ye 870 million Gambian dollars is yole dia wala ale Mamad Sabal mole Mamad Sabal killing me yalan ka bota UDP sa wole na la ako Minister of Finance la budget I kudos di wala I congratulate for failing the entire youths. Gambia la youths man mune man la problem oldi. Gambia dingol men yalan ko be sirin Gambia la funding kel men yalan ko ni Adama Barrow tara ralil la na musol men yalan ko ni Adama Barrow tara ralil e kalwada le kabulo kozi Adama Barrow ye nyina planali ali olone I cannot ntengamela sometimes ntengamela Gambia wati do sometimes kamfa ninga cool analyze sitanga cool observe nga jibi nkaful ko tonya ntulenga muneke alala nyim question kana bulan ko kono every time ntengamela Gambia dingolo nga fonu janale ko nimman takinna waliyalla wala na lonnalla para woton takita alalla but ntengamela cha mo bina da agreement Gambia no takita alalla wala yankan katobe ji kan Gambia kono bi because ala fawo fole 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍 bay kan imu menti ala ko mara la ka wala jindi kan woton to Gambia no ngam fa ozab mune mun toldi what do we deserve to have such a bad leadership in our society na nafiki yalemba na hasidi yalemba na kafiri yalemba fonna flanka folamba fonna fania folamba fonna jenolam wala na ala masadi na miana ka banko dingo be yankan kati Gambia dingo la fan nyinin ka wala sila ñi ko eksono ñi ñanta jabi dalde merci la ka ko eksono ñi jabi jani 2026 election Gambia dingo be fa nyinin ka ne jabiro so te fan wata Adama Barrow masa ko na ñanta bala jela as soon as possible Adama Barrow ko Gambia dingo be mu Gambia dingolu ako alto Gambia dingolu nanyol mbanyol merol men yala ko be struggle kan kaddo ko ke na foirol wo sama do lal men yala ko ka baru tarol Adama Barrow masa kunda kalma ke fenti alimam baraka alimumo fudingol laldi Adama Barrow masa kunda le nyifa Adama Barrow fon la diamo da amen sabe yemen sabe journalist le men sabe ko le interpreter yete Adama Barrow nyina foje bare Adama Barrow men nyanta mo furingolo wo mo barakan tangolo atel nyanta silo dunna wole ka silo dun ka silo yela wole nyanda wala balu nyanta sone yala nyaadile ay dala si million kemedro ne provide wala kati nyanta wole dokula wole nyanta balu la wala bare ate Adama Barrow kilome o sembo so ka mara Gambia la nafulo la ako Gambia la nafulo mara lalie ko nteni na family dama lafta le million keme sele dindela but Gambia mu me be the Gambia la entire youth ako million keme Adama Barrow la family member mu mo jelleti funding ke jellebe Gambia kono Gambia la entire funding kelo Adama Barrow masa kunda en kodomen dialla million keme o million keme o Gambia la funding kel na famona la ala li fanyini kawal but Adama Barrow la immediate family ni aji ama mu aussi but ye million keme say ya wala prepare pour Adama Barrow na la family nyanta membumbai la Gambia dingo fale bo ke reason nyina Mamadou Sabal men nyala ko kadiamu youth solle wala yenyi lombe pare e youth solle jam fay ko Adama Barrow la ni million kemeso lafta po ina fana ta wala mbomba isi Gambia youth mano le kal nene la meta infola le nen ko janin 2026 2021 election ko na la santa Adama Barrow ke da bang Gambia la youth mano albe bata men kala ma sibon bo la banko kana de kala koteke biafel how many funding ke jelle fata bakon how many funding ke jelle ni tuta bakon because ya jelle ko nyimma sakunda membe mbulu ma fenne planen tole e wolte ko kana tuwabdu jana tuwabdu ya mele ka tuwabdu jang kodo akati yiro le kan abuka kati jang ja real life le be jang ko nin Gambia dingo la ala fanyininga nali man taki alala wata ala fanyininga mundaji ka sifale bento la society ko nka balu nyaadi le ali believe ta munela munema altol lata munela nal Gambia la funding ke la yo soto no ali answer soto no ali faye revolutionary nyanda ke la banko la batare amembe o banko ka e bang wala nyanda ke la tul funding ke ala fa nyininga nga video jiba jama bala jibe London kona boysol tiktokal boysol katay ka boysol funding ke le nyininga ngali yamarle funding ke le janne 2021 election bari wati do ndeka fota Gambia di wala ndeka ika o Google based researchers ndeka na Gambia la funding kele bi funding kele membe sirin Gambia mandia mutasoto ni social media kono bi ikoto kana Africanism the Africans o ika foneko ikoto left itoliari realize la sang. After 400 and something years of colonial rules, 400 to 500 fucking years ago, Bile will not realize, Bile Sirin Gambia, Imana anything realize no ila osie watu kono, because ya itoli not realize le kosa, itoli hakilo ma yiri wano wataimo, imman kuning, wale mampare ka karan no wataimo kono, o time to malo wala ne to bulata dino no me ka fa mene ko dolbi jewul mu muslim le dolbi jewul mu christian le because ko wata to Africa to la brain my yeleno Google based researchers yala nyi Google based yala nyi research tool online nda badinda wa mala ko Gambia dingo karana siata niko Gambia dingo karana man siya be fan yala fala niko Gambia dingo karana man siya wallahi be modol nenale alta United Nations na nyin ala international organization to sida de jene ngafo go to Kenya ni tata Nairobi be Gambia dingo men tata je woldol karana fo ko teta go to Switzerland here where my interfamily brother the same modern father abe do ko la jeleto World Bank United Nations altaji yana mon ko regeta England molbe Gambia go to Argentina Gambia dingo yalo me yalo ka kalanda fa ko la fita tela angaleli yamote yake diplomat in Argentina angaltel dingo ni nyala British dingo ni nyala nimbe mu garame la karanale alta Saudi Arabia drin ala ko mole ko ikra akona karan ibe karana menna o bila ko karan ron karan ye londo soto nyala londo balu ni nyala haramata yana ko reketa na woli bundalto yana arab kundalto yana usasul soto Gambia kono yana imamul soto je men bo ma fati nyon bar bi mo buka soto na society kono kay nyatli wala le kene ya jahiliya men be o banko kam fala you cannot compare with any other country in Africa ndama Gambia le jahiliya siyata than the rest of the world Kunimbalia fanasia the Gambia fanati, Lombalia fanasia the Gambia let fana at the same time. After ngani London men befo. But Gambia fana kunimbalo siada. A jahilo na sia katambe dunia banko beti. Bi mo nebekeri nyim banko problemo membe be Gambia kono bi. Ntola funding kelima miracle soto. Iko to mo men desane to le realize. It left away define na sila. Who are you? This is the biggest insult I've ever seen on the Gambia TikTok. Nina rata Gambia TikTok. Nka TikTok, nka join TikTok, nka jibe how creative a human being can be. Molbe TikTok, they are very creative. You can learn. Nga molje TikTok, many alonko they were cancer patients. Many alonko ye cancer lesotono. Ikanaka more sensitized about cancer. These are very educative programs and it's very useful. Gambia TikTok algorithm. I love such a programs. Ila personal experience. Modo korejala. As keno modo bijeme alonko I cancel sort of body because of that trauma member kono asala life nyin damage none. But iteme alonko ite monun cancer person only. Nina if you speak up, that particular individual it can lively inject your bala. It can so courage la. But Gambian TikTok asol be will not see yari man fe realize no nyim problem mo mebe Gambia kono ngame realize tembi na man sakunda membe Gambia kono aje ko Gambia dingo bemu hamen tangoledi but tonya na man sakunda nyine realize Gambia na funding kelo bala mene yalo ko be siri jang especially to awdu wol ko tol sane tol ya realize ko itol mo African already. If I want to join them, nobody want to allow me to talk to them. Nsulted I sort of Facebook Canada. I try to communicate with them. But Google research based Gambian all. You see these research tools. You have so many research tools in this world. And you can research tools on men beji be hadama di ngona ala mind create no ayodeda. Gambia di ngona modi me ala is very unfortunate. I'll say hekaduman Gambia di ngona kan ye. But in come for the Antonio ala Gambia di ngona ala. I am not creative. My personality. As a person, as an individual, I am number one. Nkame be for the Gambia di ngona. Including me, number one, God starting from all follow. I'm one of the most useless individuals in the entire world. I am not creative. Now, most probably, it doesn't make sense. But when I look at the others, I am even more better than those people, the way they reason. Especially in research based. Google researchers these newly found researchers. There are vast ni left London but the 99% of the educationally brand as knowledgeable individual wala karonda mama knowledge di won bare wol manta Google kataka Google research ke woli theory leke wol tata university lelto woli professor le lota nyala ye lecture and then plus their own research that make them who they are. But ndolani mol meni alanko they don't even have a grade 12 certificate. Hana the grade 12 certificate so maybe bokol ntebe nyame ya better fail. When na based in Google research in Canada realize ko okay because mona sita je me alonko atlaw idea alafta wole impose la in fact I wole do ni media ni nkono tuma menna akombadanga na nga insa we details so article men safe ika Gambia dingo je siri na boka ne reason who is behind this auto jumala mni auto ta mona long I university jumala attend abenu mona kono I am prof I am mona mala professor. They don't Gambia dingo my interest or partner. Let's just get into that article. I go betinya. Nina na Gambia banko kam Gambia banko funding ke bebe fala. Gambia dingo bebe searing. Gambia dingo bebe searing. Na banko mo danta me siri be na banko batara din tinyala. Itol mam problem soto wala nak banko be tinyala o Gambia dingo bar bi kam na photo bi mum problem na soto. Ikoto la Africania ya wala realize. Ito ko ita momenti. Ibota banko menka ye mon mentum monko banko nyato ka wolbela banko tinyala but itla Africa ya ko kana wala fati ka fo ko chemet. Yeah, look, I am very interested to have conversation with them. But intala jeninge nyini ka question ko bukana diamo mo intala TikTok buka senia. I wanted to ask them, look, but this is not the topic today. But why am I topic on nanje? Nyun men be ka yinki nyun be mo funding kellelti. Equal African ya ikole nati. Mambala. Alikala African ya ole realize. When did you realize that now? Because of colonialism, tubabo le Arabul. And ila diamo nyumume found kono. Ibuka tubabo le made. Itulaka Arabo lema. Ano nina ta Gambia la colonial jibe. Arab jumala na ta Gambia kona in colonize. Arab banku jumala na ta ka Africa invade. Bariajele. Nimal longa ika lonna lombalo le kanyo saba keba kilinene yemfonye lata wena akonye lonna akonye lombalo konye kabeke nyo saba already. I still remember this topic. Imalo ite fete fenelo ite fela o research Google research base yemen long ite fana fe ye long leke wala ka beke nyo saboti. But near lonna invite here along with Tonyato and me along I invite nyo sabo kwele bado. Near lonna invite na ika sili entertaining la knowledge la ngajele ni ba Khalifa Touré interview soro abe siri ko ka surprise le ka kamfani le ka question le nge mammel long o ba tra la be entertain ka nyawnya bari ni mal long yalo lombalo lombali am masi bolde wallahi hani be karon kala mandiga kawte ta karanga yalla oke hani be karon kala sew kangala teta karan sew kangole at least long do manding bara research ni Google based research al fata wala wo individual like you may along can read le ma fe kana Google research ala nag because even in the classes time on you go to Googles whatever medication on you left use in tala at least you left a baseless show on a car study you research ibe medication on na contraindication on lona le bala indication on lona that's very helpful but jumale okay Google on kono mol men yalon ko yo study yo boro ni the produce o boro ni na ala content they know it yalon e mune combine to produce that medicines and no boro ni near use as a human being abe mu impact la sote la ila bala ko mune be kala disadvantage yewrete ya post Google loud lato that particular topic on yin kono pour ka tandite research menkana near research nyimboro ni na uses ni balon nale anna yadida mun purpose le kama kamun sasale jara nyene Google important ni society ko bari ila africania ito mo realize sam for Google le natit la africania ri yara sindi iko mu chemetolati mambala na chemetola barani islamu dinol mula alibula yalo ni nafta ka molo ni fenna ka mo belief ni fenna ko ite lata ko nyine mu sotata ibuka songoke ibuka bula wala alifal ibuka bula wala bukola ikela on bukole nati ya tandi mola biri islamo nata je special atola africa je al tolmen kale africa ni ala realize alla africa bebe tinyari alla ni lesol balla bankol be tinyala al mo realize al fon la banko kan bar biral na tubawdu le development be tubawdu al be confused because mona alla katabalia anala karambalia na la lombalia alman creative alla on creativeness yin wole o sabo altafla ko tubabo la la welti yin be sunya wala tan man Africa banku jelle be develop right now. If you go to Uganda, if you go to Kenya, la capital, they come in central Berlin. If you go to Rwanda, they come in New York City. For Lumari, when did tubabo mo la welti ta? You see, because wala banko they are very creative. Ila knowledge yole impossible for la banko. Ite knowledge men sort of sang. Ila mansa kunda fela kalto le funding ke hamen tawon. Adama baro mansa kunda Gambia dingo funding ke la sotol. Gambia funding Kenya mo hamen tawon. Ala se kadu le funding ke lo. Yalante mu youths on the president walati. I am speaking on behalf of the youths. But in other Gambia dingo le fanaje me alongo Gambia dingo fele me alongo ka doku ke. Atara koyola akabaluwala wala munyi hasulalti meni anonge ka bate isi solana e kana tu abudu ikela family li balundu koma moja ma Gambia bulana mbi ana diamo mandia la follow nyame sam fonni ke jama betara kamfari but I respect I mammo tento banko ka me anonga tambede Gambia la funding kella Gambia la funding kella ka hamo men soto wala ko ala mfanyi ninka eka funding kele jani ay hamo trouble Gambia banko kan amasi lo soto no because man sakunda ma nyata ndala o man sakunda kilomelo da ko Gambia funding kele hametela o Adama Barrow kilomelo ko Gambia funding kele mo furi wonde a dingo bonni Gambia banko ka a samba America aka jo Gambia dingo la kodola abe bomen kono is one of the most expensive villa in the United States America dingo fon buka sino kono freely ila fada le be doko kela a wealthy family member in order to occupy certain houses in America. Adama Barrow not now like Adama Barrow I didn't chika asamba because I told Gambia didn't like call hamentaya. I can't do for Nikils I made no Gambia. But Gambia didn't fana hamos or me along canatu babuja. Isn't a family tara condition on the corner do not to babu a taro ride do cook keneke a la family life condition on entire fale. But Janal realized like to babu will yet to babu build for their own people. Never for example, Munana market for one say. me adnet ko ko ndemanta se nga fa ndemanta sela o banko kam. The reason why I manta sela o banko kam because Gambia di ngone ke mi la nyame. Especially in the last generation. Ndola for father soul. Wole tarol do ko banko kam. Ibe condition men kon they were very content with that. Ina dino soto. Imari realize ko wala generation ko na realize no ko to mo African and they know ko to mo African only because they have their tradition and custom and their religions that they believe in. And they were unity and progress within them. They were solid unity among themselves. Intermarried ni nata. In fact, another one of the best traditional customs of Mianako is a jogo relationship between the Gambians. But I feel I will be many other civilized, they call it currently Google-based researchers. I call them Google-based researchers. I little more be realized no mansa be Gambia Banko Benyamenta to funding Keolo. Be na Gambia humanitarian relations be tinyata because money ye hatrisle dundale kunkono. Yarison no more democavoko. Nin sikare mbeten nin sikare mbeten nin sikare mbeten nkana funding ke me alon ka jado be kendaren konte a young person like me akmo be tinyara because that's how he thinks it kana funde ko to sign it for African yanyi realize by injecting such a hate in your head and ila family be ka best wala nyam most of the people many alon ko they were celebrating Adama Barrow la victory because they celebrated because of that hate speech me yal ko tinya al jahili malo Almo realize be maje bi o mo kile on be sofa kambi ana baro kale ko 1 million kemene la natul funding ke hamen tawri albe balula men sama but into la family me alan ko is a superior family over you ngam million keme selelo ni na family nyanda wala ba selela ale mo no jebi alte fenno la wot lato de malala african ya se realize be Bakar Baji Sunya ke deliberate land funding ke jele game over 1.5 million Gambian funding ke la besini ala muso use alla kodo ntenatul bela kodo in fact nde dati ji the dati ndara rita men benefit mbo sot la jamane king isko sita ala platform kana I budget Gambia dingole ndesan Gambia dingole I salute those Gambians men ko they are hardworking Gambian people in the Gambia. Gambia funding with all this pain, with all this anger, come impose on this social media now. Nka hamone dia lambokal belittle. Because I'm part and parcel of you. Allah feature is my feature. Ningambia fallen the be attended jelani Facebook or to jang. Nka belly stop. Nka na Facebook nka belly shut down. Nka concentrate na family kanja. I'm even thinking how to rebuild my family here. A very solid one. Because I'm done with that country. You know, hardworking Gambian will give a daily earning. Gambia din jelebe do ko la Gambia economy, especially in the police kundal army kundal me alon ko they have 10,000 monthly salary. What is $10,000? It's less than 150 euro. 150 euro. Wallahi. 150 euro. No, wallah 150 euro. Most of those because of this urban migration o menketade. Jama be do ko law Gambia banko kam fonni ke be kada si komole. Yela bundi on ruwasi. Be bunjo Gambia banko kan adomande mo 5,000 a day. If you are receiving $10,000 and you are paying your monthly bills, house rent for $5,000, you live with $5,000. Yela mo so man bottom mo 2,000 something that is. Ila daily ndawal fees. Huh? Ila daily ndawal fees. Womu jelleti. Before Carola only 50, they became like on the Magdiana Benna Bunko na Janyama. Ninkaro fa jana la 15 days akabane ka strane ka trafarne tak arabaro ko ba megla no gambe nyaade walla o salary ni ba med no la nyaade tango ite be banko men kan Gambia ninda ma soto jam mo meke bi Mena kaito le la nyoka ngata sima sakunda nko e kwalin saf. Messi la jana na bungo be jola. Ibe ndomore la nkono be fala tep. Mena bena kila koteke. Ibe na bungo jola nye. Ibe muna koteke balu dilan. Nde wodi ibe jola kodola. Ibe kodo ba sele na account kono. Ibala ko na life on memen kala Gambia fa kono with that. Wala fa be siala because of nani hard working memen kono jande. Alto Gambia ni fa ka so do masakunda 𝒂𝒂𝒏. But ana go kalto do mo furu wala so ta make no bango kanyere. Amon fen create alto le. Alto Gambia ni be siri Gambia, including a last soldier role, na la police role. Ikali use koteke, ikatala kaw banko di ngol tal ke bute. Mune kala alto ko wala. Manda jam falale janna. Mbedan nali indula la to something because nte samante kada wuli subado ko wala. Opposition leaders of the Gambia. Nyim budget bediam dala banta. Mo opposition party je me alonka finita diamta Adama Barrow la ay Adama Barrow in statement o men di media no me kavanal matanga sikasa ba falo. Gambia di ngala lemo neki alala. Ngamoneke alala ngamen deserve to live in such a condition in our own country. Ngamoneke alala fonna hakilo ma yiriwano puru kana sama nga molto mo meni alan ko wala nyanda na sama betandi la puru ndingole ngakilo ma yiriwano tafuta wala bulo nyanda. But why do we allow ourselves to be used as a tool? Ka hatis nyinta ka bill within the masses of that country. Nyinko exono Gambia funding kill nina musol nimbanyo la ojabi. Nali o realize no. Then masakunda nyanda falinal immediately. Rivalo sono nyanda kila obanko kam by force. Battery ame obanko kam biya stop. Senegal jibe menke kam bi. Senegal ye Gambia entire economic tire be control. Biya jibe ka boss stational men lo Senegal. E kam dambe central balin janne. Na personal manager me yaron ka bodo nan jamasa. There are boso la picture je to moment na station kono. In fact there are dunda Dakar sate kono wati men. Abodo nan adunda banjun to moment ko tonya Gambia in Senegal te la no. I wonder why Adama Barrow men ka si kata si teleto ka fo mole ko. Berinde la masa kuna na rankombe nga development men fon nga development kuma so nyame tubabo ko nyele follow bulolo. You see how Adama Barrow think Gambians are? Ako tubabo fon ka tene ko bulolo development. Adama Barrow mun development ke Gambia kono bi. Tubabo ba fala me ko bulolo. Because he got a sponsor on. Do you see Alia realize how ignorant that man can be? Akaka diama atul mena atul be le kumoteta. Atul be mutolelete. Atul be nyale matal buke mira na alma mira kusoro. Wana anambaroka in kuma sifa ka lotele ta ka fale. Moma lo siran kona atulobo. Wala moyo no platform ka kai ko manse kai look ikamen foten tonya tije faniala mo. Akaketu abudu janne. We called our leaders liars. You lying in a platform. And police will form no because of more fundamental human rights. Because ni along ka be men for ke wulia le kalo jeli kai wulole munyindi ka men for the wulia fall mama soto. But near for Gambian Corona society because we have a very sick, ill mentality. Bafala Kafela Kabula Kane. Ebo police or jelebo we use me alonka. Binala Saradi sort after a few days like a Sarika Banda Conco Canafla Fala ka bake don't roll. I've been now funding Mutala Betaba Bushala because I was funding K do ye memfate. What a new police at a new police only funding K Bela Kumo. Ibe Yanta mem for a month, eh? Funding ke wala for barisanati use kotikata funding ke yinta maltreat kam ta moment yalan ke buke mira na sonno mo fa buke mira atu yama gambe develop na because of namiro we are very backwarded in thinking mbuka reason no hanama di wala idea nyanta advance a minute ika kumo men fonte you ika any statement nga fale yan even taka nyime kumo men fale go and evaluate it by your own ya reason me important ke yota bara ko alte okela de le hit le nyala le konko imaye banko bebe tinyare and it in the music industry are being hated. Just recently, ngajele funding dama many it la professionalism, being a musician to entertain the whole masses. It a malfinity can because you killing a progress count. It will have a progress yin, or mandate to the financial progress land. But it will not condition of a steering likely because of a man creative nyamen. In a take nyatili wala ka hate. Well, can a key estate. A manager, one other job, another creativity. Still creativities. That's what they hate in him. You move broadening and kind of topic on what broadening a youth man because of Albuke Mila Nyamatul Gambia Dingol. Alman creative nyamewoleza. If an asita the mal sita many alanko man creative no, they don't have even an idea to create even a song or to write a lyrics. Imoke no to money like hating entire the mal a combination of it. They go against ST because of ST like creativities. ST besiri media baby diamala mdongo manadiama mamfenge kotege. He sat down again. I sung it right ke respondala. Another creativity fell and because of that music, alanya latest songing, I respond okono nyame ikalo no tonya tonya. Gambia dingo dolbije niko Gambia dingo man creative. You insult some of them. But hate lat nambukata anoji. Alana Google-based researchers. Nete the Google-based researchers. Whatever Gambia for nigga. Almana any ideas of no African realize sang after 400 years. And it will Africa realize here, and mana realize the sila. Ali realize ko Arabo laltul nene. After Tubabul, nene mama Gambia Arabu Bangota Gambia no colonize. Nene mama ko Arabu Gambia was an Arabic colonize. The social country was colonized by the Arabs or Saudi Arabia or Dubai. More. But England and France, Portuguese and other places no long. But it all African here, man now realize Gambia. Biri nata otuwa bankol kane nata realize call mo it will more African on it. It will more 𝒂𝒊𝒏. Allah bankol, Allah masakuna me alango. Abala feature generation based in yalaji. Allah creativity, Allah on creativity sinyesi ola sabu. Masakunda kasi aka 120 million provider to funding kile because hamen town le malda man create. Akana mansakunda demand koteke na bankola economy akafo konteni na personal nina family wole kumata altoldi ndebe 800 million din na family bita wole basela la taxpayers atol fanyol atol meni alam kal kemina ko sana atol new research tool le soto atol new research al adama Barrow mansakunda ko alla nafulo al banyol meni ala wulunyo wala ila nafulo me gambere wala sama dolal eka fuaro fango digo ja manda ma fana fuare ala fana kanyin sabu alse ka tude ntemo fuare digo lati ndenyo fuare digo masodo society kon but reason why nganyim fo ekanyi momen beje di amala nyi Facebook ol kono new research al meneka nyi new ideology nyi mbel ita fanka ma kilindi ngo jela kono. Go and ask yourself why. Fuara be fuara yaro na etachi. Ebe bola fuara kono ni alamedi mena na bula fending kono tomo na ke fratindile. Ika yaro nyama to ya siata nyama ya sifale so category le so. This Nyama, mental disability, a different category sort of. Atol new research alatali ofana research. Ngamo mo fana be diamole new research ale kono kotege mona dako kurano ning lie ako lie fam do na ko lie nyi mu bor kendele e ko meati na wo ko lie fam mu boroleti e ko ka wala agency ko ha fana mu arabol la ideality because arabol le kurano nyi safe for gamma funding ke meron ke milatende ako lie manke boriti je itolnina Google research mu mebe e manta eta Google ita ya Google e real nyina lie nyina use nyingi beba even German jam an institution like Charité Medical University ye Leo honey. Don't find it honey. Honey. And a value ya learn in society kono. Alta beekeeper jibe ka lemenda ma ka natural lemenda ma produce ya. Inata the medic the medic na medicine part jibe. Ika liye ka use munekama. Gambia dingol be siri itol new research and more research no. When the jaka le ko fana agents because yo jaba ma masla platform on ko be diam ga Islam wala biriko Islam ya rek itolai alama zakundai game fonni kele ka fa ba kono alma new research fana keno fonni kele manya na fala ba kono nyama le fe invent wala bari ikaje wala nan de ga Gambia dunia be nyanta Gambia le makola like nadia mo start nga fale mom banko je banko ndiwo me ko addo to Gambia ngal lonna I lonna produce like Gambia but banko me fana addo to Gambia mom moje me ko I jahilo produce like Gambia Gambia la level beten na poverty la level be Gambia jame jahiliya ni lonna la karola na level be wala nyama the number of individual men finite long very fine and they are doing very well in other part of the world. Are divided into 3 different or 4 different categories. You have a very poor innocent citizens. Many are be living in Gambia kono. The hard work like taro. Ikabalu wala. They don't even consider komansa kundanya little rescuer. I was brought up in that society. We struggle because ngalo ko yaja masakunda takenola atje alondo table we mo jama bakata wala sunno ko society sifala kon like me and I and yet still you have a very generous Gambian citizen many alanko they are hardworking wala daily routines will can make sure be from morning ibe mune follow fendi de be hustle be mune follow nyina pro family bi na men domola wobe bana to mene fendi ko de kata wularo nyina manyandala wala ka wala daily routines lati and wo mole yalla ko masakunda nyanda fene create lanye bari yalla ko sa masakunda silo tela e ka wo mole le command oppositional when you speak wala oppositional yana another society so many yalla ko they are very sick, they are very toxic, they are very hateful, they are very ignorant, they don't know anything because of ego. Well, they cannot just go off their own ego. They will even prefer those innocent poor citizens of Gambia will they continue to suffer because of their ignorances and hates. Mansakunda mentaya impossible mind because of what I call this research, this Google-based research as well. Altally research alifaye. Be creative. Alio hate sifal bonal sonomoko. O ego sifala leo lande ali fen create number gambe ni wonya fala nanti na fala men ala la bukol fon safena no bali al fans ali safer ke number lita ali na diam money without pushing and pulling or fighting or insulting others ali be sensitized no nyali to realize cattle bila to realize after 400 years ago atomo African honest atomo kemet solid no Google based researchers on manza konda fela ba la fon ninkel benena Rabaro fela le momentum bo me alon ka tol sonno mo ni te sonno mo be tinya I hid dal damal tema e fele ba la foninkel ka la foninkel be mo hamen tawnade alam na so arabaro masakunda janal bari ala isla ko atul mu chemet solade janal bari ala isla ko atul we are misled by the Arabs janal bari ala isla ko tubawo la colonialism they don't even talk about it because it be Europe la konaja. You see how sick, how irrelevant these people, to listen to them sometimes it's become very irrelevant. You cannot even benefit anything because shouting, they cannot tell you even a genuine reason why it will need new research and new found. But they were aim and objective. They are going against Islam. They are going against all religions, not even all religions, but totally Islam. Alma any other agenda sort of just to insult the Quran and Islam. Alma any agenda sort of kotake. Only Quran on Islam or dino. Alto lunkali ala African yala. Alma realized Gambia bula nara tubawu tuman because the environment was clean, tight and clean. Tubawu leudogu. Hitler la second world war bila European ba sele tuma menna European war biro kada European on ya realize ko tonya nyanta na Europeanism nyanta protect la na human right na fundamental human right need to be protected. Actually feel yaja be 22 years I Gambia ba sele banko bela economy ba seleta yemo I hatred na dal sono mo ko mo be sono mo kuranda almanta ka o kele ko murunina alla Gambianism almanta o faade para kala ka mun kila alla Kemetism Africanism nana do ya banne Gambia problem be Gambia nga dango kele folo new Google based research so I'll go back to universities. Don't link around but go back to universities. Talk to the people, many of them, they have knowledge. Speak to them. Go back to your home country. Be creative. Be innovative. Ale moldo ni mako many alon ko imantara society nyingon bana to to siri internet or TikTok kon ni dunda TikTok kon ko Gambian sometimes I feel sad to listen to the Gambians. Very few individuals kalamo wala very productive programs but don't be they are completely useless. They don't even know what they are talking about because of they have free access here, internet. European only free access here. European only development they have that free access. Imana anything sort of no, imana any creativity bonding no, they are not even innovative to do whatever more say benefit no managers see that because they have a free internet like Marjane. They are just talking rubbish. You cannot don't know you don't imana of it look at manager. Yena atra siri yena omo sifal jibe ni tuwa bole tara siring ibe kachala. You laugh at them. They cannot even be proud of who they are in front of the white people. What be one like an see to the internet go to get to realize the go to Africa no sa. Allah Africa leaders will ban la banko be true ban. Ibala banko le economy ni o troba yo banko troba mo kelo so do. Arambaro fele be siri ngabe uli afala gambe dingol be. Nyabe nyama womo kile mo fonne ke kilo membo kontena altolo wala kata le Adama kom e ka bulo kosila on failure ka clap Adama Barrow for Adama Barrow la success na la family altolo mente ba altolo dango ato gambe dingol tenali ya ba al sutu to dia bye bye.